Hi, my name is Steve James, and welcome back to this audio class on how to read the Bible for understanding and power. This is the More Abundant Life podcast, episode number 354, The Beginning, the first 3 chapters of Genesis, part 2. In this episode, we're going to see the reason for the creation of the earth, how God designed everything so we could clearly see God, how God created man to be the ruler over the earth, and how man was to learn about God. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. We'll just read it now. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Or, God, in the beginning, created the heavens and the earth. And the earth became without form or void. He didn't create it that way. It became that way because of that great war, which the adversary tried to overtake God, called the devil, the serpent, the dragon, and he was cast to earth. And darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, and it was good. Good time, it was good. And God divided the light from darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the water." Let it divide the waters from the waters. A firmament. There it was. Waters above it, waters below it. Divided it. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And He called the firmament what? Heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters He called seas. And God saw that it was what? Good. Good. It's getting good. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the trees yielding fruit, whose seed was after itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. That word kind, after its kind, is the Greek word genus. Genus, everything after its kind. Apple trees bring forth apples. That type of thing. Grass, seed. If I plant grass seed out here, which I ought to do, but if I do, what will I get? Grass. I won't get pear trees, right? Right. That's what it means. After its kind. After its kind. Let's keep going reading. Yeah, let's go to 13. Just keep reading there. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And so, God put all this up there for us, right, in the sky. You look up in the sky, you can see these lights. Because they're called stars and moon. In the daytime, there's sun. He says these are to be for what? For signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. Verse 16 says, "And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser to rule the night. And He made the stars also." So what's the greater light? And the lesser? All right, see? And he put them up there for us. And you know what? Almost any day you can see these, right? You look up, you can see the sun. At night you can see the moon, you can see the stars.
Yep.
God put them there for you. And God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was what? It was good. It was good. God liked what He did. Okay, I want to take a little time here and talk about, see, God created the earth. He put the stars up there. He put everything that we can see up there. He put the grass and the trees and the fruit trees. He put that all out there. And you know what? You can still see these things today. On a real nice night, you can see a starry, starry night. On a real nice day, you can see a beautiful sunset. You can see trees growing up. You can see all this. God created them there. They're there. Look at Romans chapter 1. And when God put them there, He says, this is good. He saw it. He said, good. Romans chapter 1. Romans chapter 1. Romans chapter 1, and we're going to go to verse 20. It says, for the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. See the trees, the grass, the sun, the moon, the stars, they're clearly seen, right? For the invisible things of Him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even His eternal power and Godhead, so that they are what? Without excuse. See, mankind, people on earth, they cannot say there was no God, because they are clearly seen. They have intelligence behind them. If you have a watch, you look at the watch and it has hands that move and that stuff, you know there's something behind it that makes it work. Well, when you look out and you see the sunset, you know that something did that. There's intelligence behind it. Trees, the seasons, how they come every year at the exact same time. What the Word of God is saying to us, they are without excuse. There's no excuse for any mankind. Now, sometimes people have said to me, what about the guy that lives in Borneo in this island all by himself? How would he know? Well, he can look up and see the sky. He can see the tree. You know, people might say, well, I don't believe there's any God. I say, okay, make a tree. You know, and they go, well, I can't make a tree. And I go, well, God did. He made all kinds of trees, actually, and all kinds of stars. What it says here, they are without excuse. What God created in Genesis, right at the beginning, without excuse. Look at Psalms, right in the middle of the Bible, Psalms 19. Psalms 19. See, I was sharing with you, there's an awful lot in these opening chapters, first 3 chapters in Genesis, that once you have an understanding of that, will help you throughout the Bible as you read it. Psalms 19, in verse 1, and it says, the heavens declare the glory of God. Now, doesn't it do that? As you look out at a beautiful starry, starry night, doesn't that declare the glory of God? And the firmament showeth His handiwork. As you're on a mountain and you look down and you just see a beautiful landscape. It showeth His handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech. See? It uttereth speech. And night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Like I said, without excuse. Without excuse. Now, people might not know the details about God without me and you going and talking to Him, but they definitely can see that God is around, that God is real. Because there it is. I'm looking out the window now. It looks real to me. No man put that stuff there. Their line is gone out throughout all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun. Pretty neat. It's just there, without excuse. Go to Romans. We were in Romans, but go to Romans chapter 10. Romans chapter 10. God put it all out there so there is no excuse. God put me and you here to help people to understand. And in verse 12, Romans chapter 10, verse 12, it says, For there is no difference between the Jew, Judean by religion, and the Greek, everybody else, for the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Anyone who looks up and wants to know about God. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe on him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they not hear without a preacher? That's where we come in. We can tell them about it. And how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace, and bring glad tidings of good things. But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah said, Lord, who hath believed our report? So then faith cometh by hearing, and by hearing by the word of God. But I say, have they not heard? Yes, verily, their sound went into all the earth, and their words unto the ends of the world. This is talking about we need to speak God's word when we have a chance and an opportunity to. But there's still no excuse for a person to look around and see what God's created and go, I want to know. And you know what? Any man, woman, boy, girl, child, anyone who wants to know God can look up and say, God, I want to know. And if they do that, then somebody will come along and speak God's word to them. Someone like you. Someone like you that is listening to this class can go and help somebody with God and His word. Can say, hey, God did create the heavens and the earth and the trees, and He gave us His word so that we can know Him and we can teach it to Him. Look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, just a few pages towards the back. Well, more than a few pages, but towards the back, chapter 1, verse 8. It says, For from you sounded out the word of the Lord, not only in Macedonia and Achaia, but in every place. Your faith, your belief into God's word is spread abroad, so that we need not to speak what? Anything. Do you believe in God? If you believe in God, then you go, I believe in God. And if you know some of God's word, then you sound it out so that people can know about it. You can say, look, there it is. It's there for you to know about, for you to have. One thing about this class that I'm teaching you here on how to read the Bible for understanding and power, I want you to be able to have it so that you can have the life that Jesus Christ came to make available, but I want you to be able to help others also. Remember, in Philippians, we look upon how we can help other people. God first, others second. I'm willing to be third. Go back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 18. To rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Pretty neat. God put it all up there so that we could know, so that we could see and understand. I've asked a friend of mine, Les Titcomb, if he would read the astronomer that was talking to his son one day, and I would like to play that for you right now. Les?
I've enjoyed a quotation from a noted astronomer who was discussing with his son one day the influence of the heavenly bodies on the earth. And here is the quote. I've noticed that at certain times the earth is lifted out of her orbit or path by an unseen body lying beyond the reach of our most powerful telescope. If ever they build a larger telescope, I wish you, his son, would go and search the heavens to find out what it is that so affects this planet of ours. When the great Lick Observatory was reared with its powerful telescope, this sun traveled across sea and continent, and one clear night turned the great telescope against the dark space in the heavens where this unseen, uncharted planet reached down its mighty hand and gripped the earth. After gazing a while, suddenly there appeared a tiny speck of light. It was a star swinging in its giant orbit away out on the frontier of the universe. He saw the planet that had so strangely affected the earth. It was millions of miles beyond the farthest star that the human eye had ever seen. Yet, this giant star, sweeping on its great orbit, came regularly every few years close enough to our planet so that it could reach its mighty hands of gravitation down through the unmeasured space and grip our little earth and lift it out of its orbit. As a ship on the ocean responds to the slightest touch of the helm, our earth responds to the touch of that distant sentinel and veers swiftly out of its course. Then, when the planet's grip is loosed, back into its path it comes and goes rhythmically on its way. This establishes one fact: that there is neither planet, nor sun, nor moon, nor star in all the vast universe but has its influence upon this little planet of ours. How it thrills the heart to realize that this earth of ours, so small that 1,000 of them can be lost in the sun, is the center and reason for the universe. Tonight, this old earth of ours is being held as safely in the embrace of those uncounted and uncharted planets as a child in its mother's arms. The heavens are tonight Earth's only perfect timepiece. No watch or clock ever built by man can give us perfect time. But he who knows the path of the stars knows that every star, or sun, or planet will pass a certain given point in the great unpathed space on scheduled time. The star may not have been seen for thousands of years, but she will appear at the crossroads of the heavens, not 1 second ahead, nor 1 second behind her schedule. Oh, the wonder of the architect, the marvel of the creator, the might of the sustainer of this great universe of ours. From E.W. Kenyon, The Father and His Family.
For the most part, the people of the earth, I'm talking all the people of the earth, scientists, philosophers, great thinkers, have no satisfied reasoning for our planet, the earth. Nothing that satisfies. But God does. You. God put it all here for God's man, so that God's man could learn about God. The things of God are clearly seen every day as we just look around, no matter where we live on this earth. We can see God. And God designed the earth to be man's classroom, his university of life. And God has taught and worked with mankind from the beginning. From the earth, the wilderness. For an example, Adam was created outside, in the earth. Moses was in the wilderness 40 years. God worked with him in the wilderness. Many of the great prophets of old spent much time in the outdoors. Jesus Christ went 40 days into the wilderness, and God taught him more there. Our world, our earth, it was designed by God for us, mankind. There's lessons there for us. God has clearly shown us himself in his created world and in his word. And we're going to learn a lot as we continue in this class of all that God made available to us through His Word and what we can see around us.
Let's continue reading. Genesis chapter 1, verse 18. Verse 20 says, "And God said, Let the waters bring forth abundantly moving creatures that have life, and fowls that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after its kind," genus again, after its kind, "and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good." Isn't that good? You know, whales bring forth whales, cows bring forth cows, and I'm glad the cows don't fly, you know, all that. But see, God had everything after its kind. God knew what He was doing. God is sharp. You know, if you ever get involved in sciences like biology and stuff, there's tremendous knowledge for you right here in the opening chapters of Genesis. Tremendous knowledge here. Do you know why? Because God knows what He's doing. When God put it together, He knew what He was doing. And you know, science has never been able to disprove the things we read here. But you know what? God's Word has always backed up science when it's been right. Not theories. Theories, people just guess, you know. They see a little bit of a skeleton and go, "Oh yeah, that's what it looked like." They're just guessing. They're just theories. They even call them theories. They say, "This is my theory." Well, but when they get into the science, God's Word always backs up the truth of the science every time. Can't get any better than this stuff. And this stuff was written a little while ago. And science has never been able to disprove it. Isn't that something? And they've been trying. They've been trying. Okay, and then verse 24 says, "And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creatures after its kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, genus again. And God saw that it was good." Verse 26, "And God said, Let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He him. Male and female created He them. There's a lot in these verses that I'd like to just go over with you. John 4:24. This is to establish the truth that says God is what? Spirit. God is Spirit. It says here God is a Spirit, but He's not a Spirit. He's Spirit. He's not one amongst many spirits. He's Spirit. God is Spirit. Alright, so God is Spirit. Now go back to 26 of chapter 1. Genesis 1:26. "And God said, Let us create man in our own image." What's the image of God? Spirit. Spirit. "After our own likeness, and let them have dominion." That word dominion means power, authority. After God created man in His own image, He wanted them to have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in His own image. In the image of God created He them. Male and female created He them. Now, this here is the first time that Spirit is spoken about in mankind. Man is created both body, soul, and spirit, and we'll see that as we continue on. But the first thing that is mentioned of the body, soul, and spirit is what? Spirit. Spirit. God created man in spirit. God is spirit. Mankind, being created with spirit, now has a way to communicate with God. God with us with Him. Spirit. And in verse 28 it says, And God blessed them and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Now how can you replenish the earth if it wasn't plenished the first time? See, that's another key to letting you know that something happened between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2. Because when God has man, He says, replenish the earth. And then it says, the earth, and subdue it, and have what? Dominion, which is rulership, power, authority over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed, to you, and it shall be for meat, for food, for good stuff to eat. I want to go back for a second and look at this. He's given us power over the earth. We have dominion, rulership over the earth. Keeping your finger here, go to Luke chapter 4. Matthew, Mark, Luke chapter 4. I want you to see a change. And in verse 5, I want you to see a change here. And the devil, taking him up into a high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment's time. The devil took Jesus Christ and showed him somehow by vision all the kingdoms of the world in a moment's time. And the devil said unto him, All this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for it is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. The devil said, I'll give you, Jesus, all the power, all of it. Well, who had the power in Genesis? Adam and Eve. But now, who has the power? The devil does. And if he didn't have it, you know what Jesus would have said? He would have called his bluff. He would have said, okay. He would have called him on it. But Jesus knew that the devil had all the power. Somehow, the adversary got it away from Adam. Got it away from him. In Genesis, mankind has dominion over the earth. Now the devil has it. I'm going to show you this some more. Look at John chapter 14. Luke, John 14. Here, this is Jesus speaking. He says, Hereafter I will not talk with you much, for the prince of this world cometh, and hath nothing in me. The adversary here is called the prince of the world, and he's the prince of the world. And Jesus says, He hath nothing with me. So I'm not going to talk to you much when he's being a big shot. Look at 2 Corinthians. We go through Acts, Romans, Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 3, it says, But if our gospel, the word gospel means good news, but if the good news be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. If some people don't know about God, it's because it's hid. It's hid to those ones. He says, In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe what? No. Not. In the Bible, the devil is called the God of this world. He's called the prince of this world. He's got a lot of names, really, doesn't he? We've seen he's called the devil, the serpent, the old dragon, Satan, the God of this world. Lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. But we're not going to let that happen. We're going to be the ones, we'll tell people, hey, there's a kingdom of this world, the adversary's in charge of it, but there's a better one, where God is in charge, and Jesus Christ is His Son, and we can become part of that kingdom. But right now, and we need to know this, that the adversary is in charge of this earth. He's in charge of he's called the God of this world.
Watch the rolling clouds move with the nighttime to the day, and watch the burning sun fall to the sea. Something deep inside tells me that what I've been seeing just did not happen accidentally. Hear the seagull cry, spread her wings, watch her fly, and hear the mighty tide roll in. Think that it's affected by the moon so far away. I know that it's not coincidence. Some say that it all happened 1 billion years ago. Some say, Lord, that we will never know. Well, God said in the beginning, and that's good enough for me. He created the heavens and earth for you and me. To know that we are sons of God with power from on high, and all is ours as far as we can see. To know that we're more perfect than the finest machine. Know that we're God's masterpiece. Some say that we all came from just one single cell. Some say, Lord, it's just too hard to tell. Well, I say let's give the credit where the credit's due. God made, formed, and created me and you. It just did not happen accidentally.